So I will be recording today's webinar. So if you ever want to view the webinar in the future, we will be posting this up on our YouTube channel, and we will be posting this on social media so you can watch at a later time. So today we're going to quickly, like I mentioned, we'll talk about the Sonar Lite Chrome extension and how it can be used to troubleshooting your web performance, DNS problems, web server problems, from not only from your point of presence, from what you see, from also from other points around the world. And that's really the power of Constellix Sonar, is to give you the ability to troubleshoot network configurations and see how your users are viewing your data and your websites from locations all around the world. Sonar Lite is the free version of Constellix Sonar. Constellix Sonar is the monitoring application, part of the Constellix suite, of the traffic management suite. Constellix consists of the DNS and of Sonar. If you have any questions or query, no pun intended, please send your questions via Twitter at Constellix with hashtag SonarWebinar. You can also ask a question in the GoToMeeting client you have installed on your computer, and we'll be more than happy to answer them at the end of today's webinar. So the first thing I want to go over how quick it is to install a Chrome extension. I'm sure most of you on this webinar today have installed extensions in the past, but just in case someone hasn't, I'm going to go through this real quickly. I'm going to switch my screen over here to view a basic tab. You just go to your Manage Extensions. You go to the bottom and say Get More Extensions. You can then search on the word Constellix. And if you spell it right, it'll show up. You can click on the extension, you can read about it, and then also you can say Add to Chrome. And once it's down, it's installed, it's added, and you now see it up in the top right-hand section of your screen. And there you go. The Sonar Lite extension is now added into your Chrome, and you can use it for all your troubleshooting needs. And we're going to go over all the different functions and features that are enabled in the Chrome extension in a few minutes. So it's often asked, why do we develop Sonar Lite? What was the reason behind Sonar Lite? Why did we do it? And why did we actually get into the whole monitoring region, and the whole monitoring business? Many users have been using DNS Made Easy, DNS failover services, and system monitoring for almost 13 years now. And based upon the user feedback we received, our users asked us for more data. More data. Why is my system down? How is it performing for multiple regions? Give me historical data. And give me all this data that I can then use to try to troubleshoot more problems and give my end users a better experience. And that was really the reason behind Constellix Sonar, was to give users the historical information and the networking information, and giving you really all layers of the application stack to understand what's causing the problems for your end users. If you look at what we've done in Constellix Sonar, and hopefully everyone on this webinar today has been an active user of Constellix Sonar, you can see we keep adding new features, and we keep adding more abilities to try to troubleshoot and give you the feedback you need to know to identify what exactly the problem is. And so Sonar Lite is the free version of Sonar. We first developed a mobile app that gives you all this functionality, and the Chrome extensions, the next piece of it, which gives you the ability to troubleshoot everything for immediately as your users notice problems. So a big part of this is educating our users. We want to give a hands-on approach to learning how the internet works. We want to provide you the tools you need to do to help assist and figure out what's wrong. Many times we receive questions inside DNS Made Easy and now inside Constellix. And a lot of these questions are sometimes DNS related, but oftentimes they're not. They're problems with network configurations on the web servers, there are firewalls on the web servers, there's misconfigurations on the web servers themselves. And a lot of times users will report to us and say, what's the problem? How can my DNS fix it? And we're kind of locked out. DNS only can do so much. A lot of the configuration problems are outside the DNS part. So by giving you the tools you need and educating our users, it's allowing you to get your systems online and your sites online better. We believe a lot in web performance. If a lot of users are concerned with SEO, search engine optimization, everything like that. So giving you the tools that you need to help increase your web performance is sort of crucial in today's world. We want to provide you something that you can easily install and something that you can really do it yourself. All right, so now that I installed the Chrome extension, we're going to do a quick little demo of some of the features and the tools. And this is sort of ad-lib, so if you have any questions along the way, feel free to let us know, and I'll be more than happy to enter them and answer them. Okay, so now you can see my screen where I just installed my Chrome extension. And if I open up the extension, you'll see that it gives me 3 overall tabs. It gives me a RUM tab, which is the real user monitoring, the Troubleshooting tab, and also a Tools tab. If you've all been users of Constellix Sonar already, you already have seen and the ability of our RUM checks. RUM stands for the real user monitoring. It gives you the real user end view, point of view of when users hit your website. So with this tool, in Constellix Sonar right now, you install a JavaScript. The JavaScript's installed on your web page. When anytime a user hits that web page, we gather all this data, and then we show it to you in a nice, easy-to-use reporting engine. That same functionality and services that we've had for over a year, for about a year in Constellix Sonar, is now we put into the Chrome extension as well. So you can get your real user monitoring on the websites that you view yourself. And this is showing you the diagnostics information, for instance, that Chrome actually reports back to us. And then we're just giving you a nice presentation of that. So when you first install the Chrome extension, you're going to notice you don't have anything. So you actually got to go to visit some websites. So I'm going to go now to google.com. And you can see automatically it shows a speed. And that's the speed of how fast that page loaded inside your browser. If you open up the Chrome extension now, you can see that the site's been visited once, and it shows you a stacked chart of where your speed performance is. And you can open it up to get into more detail, and you can see where actually the time it takes to load your website. I'm going to actually switch this so you can actually see this. One second. Okay. So, all right. I was just told that you couldn't see the Chrome the extension in the webinar. So when you see now, when I now hit google.com, the web page did load up, and you're going to see that we actually can do this stacked bar chart of where our actual performance of the website was. You can see, was it the content? Was it the original request? Was it the response? How long did it take to load? And you can actually see the raw data of each single page load. If you made any changes to the page, you can actually refresh it, do it again, and you'll actually see another result show up. So if I did it again, you're now going to see that it shows two queries. The first one took a little longer than the second one because obviously the second time a lot of information is now cached. And you're going to load it up. You can see what actually took time to load the web page. The request took 114, the response, the download event. So as you go and you browse your certain different websites that you want to use, you're going to see the different times load up over here, and you can identify actually what's taking the time to actually process the traffic or process the information and show it to your end users. You really want your page obviously to load fast. When your page loads fast, it gains user confidence and gives you they give you a little better feeling about your brand. And also more likely to buy instances. They're more likely to click on advertising, everything like that. So as we click around the different websites over here, the different pages inside Constellix, you can see that it keeps building a catalog of all of the different pages you go to, and it gives you the load time, and gives you all that information. This number up on top is the average of all the pages on that particular site. So currently we'll store up to 5 different pages per site, and I believe about 15 different sites at a time. Then after that, we start flushing the information. So this is really just for you to view how fast a page loads. You can make changes to a web page, upload it, automatically refresh it, and see how it impacts your page and performance and how fast the page loads. And that's kind of a really a quick tool that you can use to really impact how fast your pages do load for your end users. So if you remove a CSS or you add a bunch of new attributes and you add a bunch of images, you can see how it affects your page performance. The next tab is really our DNS Made Easy and Constellix 101 Troubleshooting tab. This gives you all the insight you need to do to try to troubleshoot some of the problems that our users experience on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of times users ask us, my domain's down, fix it. And that's basically most of our tech support, that and what's our lost username and password. And many times it's a DNS problem, and many times it's actually not a DNS problem, and it's a lot of other problems. So this tool goes through the 6 different steps that every staff member here at DNS Made Easy does to troubleshoot a problem for our users. So I'm going to put in a couple examples here. I created 2. I'm going to do one called demo2.dnsanycast.com. Now this one's actually I'm going to do a failure, and then I'm going to do one that actually works. This one I know it's going to fail on me. And I'm going to walk through the different steps over here. The first step, it actually runs a Whois of your domain name. So more often than not, when people are having problems with their domain name, it's because it expired. So we decided to give a Whois information to automatically show you, did the domain expire? A lot of times people will say, hey, my DNS is down, when in reality the domain expired at the registrar, and that's why the DNS is down. So that's the first step of troubleshooting anything in a DNS problem, is what's the expiration date on the Whois. The next step actually queries the top-level domain name server. So since this is a DNSAnycast.com, we're actually querying the com name servers, and we're seeing what the name servers at the com level are saying. Now, usually, these are exactly the same as what you see in the Whois information. But every so often, a registrar does not update the registry properly, and the name servers are wrong. So even though the Whois information shows one thing, that's just a database, the actual name servers and the NS records at the top-level domain name servers are wrong. So this page is going to show you, hey, this is what we're showing at the top-level domain name servers. Make sure those are correct. The next step actually looks at the authoritative name servers and makes sure the NS records there are the same. So once again, your NS records that you tell your registrar, which would be the ones at the top-level domain name servers, need to match the NS records you have inside of your domain name. And that's crucial because if you have additional records in your DNS, or if you have missing name servers in your DNS, some of your queries might not be getting there for redundancy, but if you have additional name servers, every so often a query is going to be going to those name servers as well. And that's why you might not be getting the exact same results all the time. So many times users will ask us, and they'll open a support ticket, and they'll say, hey, I'm getting incorrect results, once an hour or 5 times a day, we noticed, and why is the reason for that? And that's very often because they have extra records they configured, usually on their own name servers. That's when they're using us for secondary. They have an extra NS record in there, and it's pointing to an old name server that they are no longer updating. And if those name servers aren't being updated, obviously it's going to be returning the old cached value, or the old value they had configured, and that doesn't show the new value they might have changed one of their records to. So this is pretty much doing all the back end Whois checks is the step 1. The step 2 is the TLD name servers. The step 3 is the name servers on the authoritative. Make sure everything is matching. The next step we go into the process is, does the actual host name resolve? So we did demo2.dnsanycast.com. Does it actually resolve to anything? Is there an A record, or is there a C name record pointing to an A record? If this doesn't resolve, then obviously your website's going to be down, right? You need it to resolve either IPv4 or IPv6 to have it actually functionally work. So this is saying, okay, yes, it does resolve. And if it didn't work, and any one of these steps, if they fail, you're going to notice the circle turning to red. And we're going to see that coming up. So on this next step, because this is a basic troubleshooter, and if you really want more precise troubleshooting and stuff like that, you want to use the full Constellix Sonar application you see online. But this next one checks, it does a port connectivity over ports 80 and 443. So obviously, many of you are system administrators out there, and you know that 80 is for HTTP and port 443 is for HTTPS. So we're doing 2 checks over here. We're making sure we can get connectivity from ports 80 and 443 to your host. And now we're actually checking from our monitoring location that we chose in the beginning. You have a lot of different of the free Constellix Sonar Lite monitoring nodes to choose from. you can choose from any one of these and run this test from there. So this is the first test. It's actually the resolving actually resolved from this location. And the second one actually makes a connection directly from this monitoring location that you're doing. And this one actually see, okay, are we able to connect to ports 80 and 443? And right here it fails, and it provides a trace route from this monitoring location that you specified to your system. And you can see this is a droplet we have inside DigitalOcean, and it shows even though it's in New York City, we don't, obviously we have it listing at port 80, we do not have it listing at port 443, so it fails. So I'm going to run through another demo here, and I'm going to switch this, and I'm going to switch to a different location. Now we're going to test from Seattle, Washington. And I'm going to say start over here. We're going to do a Whois, and you can see the Whois is the same because it's the same domain name. The top level domain name servers would be the same. Now we're going to see a different IP address. It's resolving a little bit differently. And now when we do our check on layer 3 connectivity, it's going to say, yep, it works on ports 80 and 443. And so this gives you immediate feedback saying, yep, it does able to get a connection directly from Seattle to our facility, to our server that we've mentioned. And then the next step, it actually does the layer 7 connectivity. So not only does it say, oh, I can make a TCP connection, we actually are now able to create, and we get a successful code through HTTP 200 and HTTPS 200 codes directly back saying layer 7 connectivity is perfect. And you see that it works perfectly. We made it all the way through to the end. So that's sort of our troubleshooting tab. A lot of times people will ask us what actually is the problem when they do DNS failover inside DNS Made Easy. They're asking, why is my system down? Why is my system not reporting good? And we do a lot of the troubleshooting ourselves and give them the feedback. By using this troubleshooting tab, you can actually step through the process yourself and identify why is my system down or why is it not performing properly. And this gives you, a free tool from many locations worldwide. You can run these tests. Obviously, if you want to do more tests, if you want to check on different response codes, you could run that with inside Constellix Sonar. So one user asked us just now is how do I run the checks and not check on port 443 and just check on port 80. Well, this troubleshooting tab is a generic tab. We made it so it just steps through and does the basic configurations that most of our users use. If you just want to check on port 80 and not 443, you'd want to use the Tools tab. And you could use the troubleshooting to a point, and once you understand the troubleshooter, you understand how to use it. You don't need to. You can stop at those ports that parts where it failed, but you can then use the Tools tab to get a little more insight and more feedback. So if you wanted to do, you would say go Tools tab, and you can say, okay, I want to do a TCP check, and I want to do it on demo2.dns.anycast.com, and you can say, okay, port 80 I care about, and I'm going to run the TCP check, and you're going to see that it responded. Status is up, and the response is 1 millisecond. If I check it on port 443 and I run the TCP check, you're going to say it's currently down and the connection was refused. So, and then the next part of the troubleshooting would say, okay, I now want to run a trace route, right? So I do a trace route on the Demo2 DNS Anycast from my location, and you can do a TCP trace route, a UDP or ICMP. Usually TCPs are most open, so you can do a TCP 80. I'm going to run that trace route to demo2anycast.com. And then it's going to provide me the trace route from my monitoring location to the actual host. And so I could see it, it's really closely, and it's pretty close connected right now. If you need to monitor and check from different ports or do TCP checks or HTTP checks from the ports other than we list here, you do want to use the full Constellix Sonar application. Sonar Lite is just an abbreviated version of Sonar. It doesn't give you nearly the amount of flexibility or configuration or checking that you want to do a lot of more of the advanced ports and stuff like that. Sonar Lite is basically used to do 99% of our users' support tickets. It's not made for the 1% of tickets, which are a little more specific. And that's what the Constellix Sonar application is used for. And you can obviously sign up for that at any time. Go to sonar.constellix.com or go to www.constellix.com and you can create an account. Okay. The last part over here in the Sonar Lite extension is a pop-up screen. So let's say if you didn't want to use this small little tab, you click on this, and you now get to use the troubleshooting or the tools inside a full browser window. So you actually don't need to keep the Sonar Lite extension in that little tiny screen open. This gives you ability to go back to it any time and keep running tests. You can make a little performance changes, make some network changes, run back here and run that test again. So this gives you immediate user feedback, immediate monitoring. It's the only application of its like that's completely free. And once again, if you need more monitoring locations, if you need more ports, if you need more protocols or more different types of checks, you do want to use the Constellix Sonar application. With the Sonar Lite, we provide a trace route, a DNS lookup, a DNS trace. A DNS trace gives you the ability to actually view the whole DNS lookup process as you go through. We do the basic TCP check. We have the HTTP, HTTPS. There's a Whois that we've shown in the Troubleshooting tab. We have a GeoIP check, which does allow you to put in a host name or an IP address, and it automatically tells you where that IP is registered or where it's located. Once again, this was that DigitalOcean droplet in New York City, and this shows exactly where it is. And then also you have with delegated name servers. This would be the TLD name servers that the Troubleshooting tab used. So these are all the different tools that are actually part of the troubleshooter, but this allows you to run them individually. All right, so once again, the Sonar Lite extension is the tip of the iceberg. We have all the same tools in the extension in Sonar and much more, and also in Constellix Sonar, you schedule them to be run as often as you want to. You could run these checks every 30 seconds from one to, it's going to be over 150 different locations worldwide. You can schedule them. You can be alerted when there's problems by SMS, email, or in the future, in the very soon future, push notifications. So that's the full Constellix suite, the Sonar suite. I'm not going to get into that right now. We have done other webinars on that, and we're going to do another webinar probably pretty soon to show you the new features that we have in Constellix Sonar in the past couple months. Inside Constellix Sonar, real quickly, you can customize your alerts. You can choose which employees you want to be notified. You can notify them based upon shift and the time of the day. And you can also have scheduled downtime of systems. So if you know you do backups of your database on Friday nights or Saturday nights, and you're automatically expecting poor performance, you don't have to be alerted in case there's any sort of outages during that time. There's also an escalation matrix as well that gets escalated throughout your company. So as soon as there are outages, it moves its way up if they're not answered in time. Real user monitoring, you saw that part of the Sonar Lite extension. The real user monitoring gives you the load time, the device, the browsers, the connections, and what ISPs, or what type of connection type your users are connecting from. And that part in the Sonar Lite extension has been part of Constellix Sonar for a while. And if you look at many users of you guys out there right now in the webinar, I'm sure, of using the Constellix Sonar RUM, you'll see that when you actually go to it, it'll show you a country breakdown of what type of connections your users are connecting from and the average time it takes to do a DNS lookup, a connection, the time to first byte, the back end and the front end page times and everything like that. The Sonar Lite Chrome extension is obviously the second piece of the Constellix Sonar Lite. The first one was the Sonar Lite app. It's available for iOS and for Android. Those are both available for free that you can use, and you can troubleshoot network configuration problems on your phone. I know myself personally, when I go to a data facility and I'm trying to test connectivity, that's the one app I do have out. I bring it up and I make sure I have connectivity to the box I'm working on or anything like that. And it gives me an outside view that allows me to see, is the box functioning properly? Is it being blocked by a firewall? Where's the trace route going? Are the routes being propagated? Are the routes being announced the right way, the BGP routes and everything like that? So it does give you a great level of insight for free, and that's what the Constellix Sonar Lite app does. There is also a Constellix Sonar application as well, and that's for obviously the full version, which gives you much more flexibility and much more configuration options. All right, so if you do have any other questions, feel free to let us know. You could send us to them over Twitter, use the hashtag SonarWebinar. And once again, my name is Stephen Job. I'm the president of Constellix and DNS Made Easy. And I'm excited to offer you all this brand new tool that we've developed. I hope it's useful for you. Please give us your feedback and let us know if you have any questions, problems, or you think there's any extra few things you might be interested in seeing in it. We're more than happy to get them developed. The reason for obviously for all these new features and tools is to give our users the support they need and give you the education and give you the tools you need to create better websites, better performing websites, and to increase your business. If you need any other help regarding Constellix, please go to help.constellix.com, or you can submit a support ticket at support.constellix.com. And once again, have a great day. Thank you very much for taking your time and joining us today. And we'll be posting this webinar online. And so if you want to watch it again, you can do so at any time. But feel free to download the Chrome extension and use it as much as you'd like, and let your friends know about it. And we're interested to let you hear about your feedback. Have a great day.